Hello. So in the past, I've done like a 3 hour stream whenever a new Hitman update comes out, and then I'll just go through everything that's been going on that month, like a podcast style. But last month, I figured I wouldn't upload the podcast thing to YouTube. Instead, I just did like a quick 10-minute recap, and I think I like that format better for YouTube. So in the future, I'll probably keep doing the long stream on Twitch, and then I'll upload something like this to YouTube with like very quick summary of everything that actually mattered. And we'll see if I actually stick with this. Stay tuned and find out in October, I guess. But yeah, let's go through September in Hitman. First, I'll address the patch notes, which were, or not the patch notes themselves, but the patch. Very insignificant patch in my opinion, other than making accident KOs an option again, which is a very good improvement, but I think that was the only noteworthy improvement in this patch note. Also, you still can't knock out targets with accidents, which is strange and I think should be addressed in the future. But yeah, good improvement, but only improvement. And then we had live content, which basically in my case means escalations because I have no interest at the moment in doing elusive targets, and I never had any interest in doing featured contracts. But we had 4 escalations. The Dalton Concussion, which was pretty solid, would recommend. The only really escalation-y thing I think it had was a restricted loadout, but it made decent use of it. It's a pretty good one. And then we have Covert Dispersal, which I would not recommend. I wouldn't even call this an escalation. It was a waste of time. It's a glorified contract. Don't bother. Next is the Dubious Cohabitation, which is a decent sniper contract. I will call this an escalation because it actually does make good use of sniping mechanics, unlike most of the game. Pretty easy one outside of maybe like one gimmicky shot, but worth like what it takes, 15-20 minutes. And finally, the Merle Revelation, which again, not a good escalation. It barely counts as an escalation, I think. It's like it has a nice idea, but it doesn't work in practice. But it does unlock the emetic grenade, which is an item I do very much enjoy. I think nausea is an underrated state that the NPCs can be in. Mostly because I dislike the fact that you can infinitely KO any number of NPCs with no penalty whatsoever. Whereas making them sick only removes them from the game for a short while. And I think that's a way more interesting way to deal with NPCs. And before I talk about the actual content of this, I do want to bring up the other unlockables, because there was a lot of emetic stuff this month, which I very much enjoy. Like, while the emetic grenade is good, I think the emetic remote detonation device, whatever it's called, kinda already makes this obsolete. But that's fine, they probably have some... This probably still has some use case somewhere, even if the remote emetic device, I would say, is better. And perhaps even better than that is the emetic gun that works like the Calmer sedative gun. Very nice to have these items. I think they actually add in new gameplay options, and I'm glad we finally have good options for making people sick, because that's a very fun mechanic. Also, I gotta bring up the whatever poison dagger they add into this. I don't think it's that strong an item overall, but it definitely does stand out in a positive way, where you have a dagger that also comes with a type of poison vial, although I haven't tested it myself, but I would assume that using the poison vial from the dagger is illegal even if you are disguised properly. I like the concept, I probably won't use it myself much, but nice to see it in the game. Okay, then we have the DLC stuff. First, 2 special assignments. It says mission right here. I don't think they deserve the gold missions. These are glorified elusive targets, and this time around, they don't even have like new lighting in the missions. I don't know why they bothered to include these. Although, maybe in all fairness, I might like a bitter pill the best out of the four glorified elusive targets we've had, simply because of the uh, Whittleton Creek setting. It still has some significant problems and oversights in design, but it's probably the least worthless of them all. And that's debatable. Yeah, not much to say about these. I don't think these are worth time for IO nor for the players overall. And finally, the actual meat of this month, which is Haven Island, which was disappointing. It's like, it's technically a good level, maybe a bit flat, but I don't think that's the problem. The problem is that it's really uninspired. As I was playing it, I did feel like I'd already played it 10 times before, even though I hadn't even finished it once. Because at this point, IO has perfected the formula that they are working with, and it doesn't appear that they can do anything to change it. And that has really turned the game stale. It's just... there's nothing fresh left in the game anymore. I feel like I can only so many times walk by an NPC, overhear a conversation about how, oh, this target is this thing, what an asshole, and follow the obvious steps to isolate the target in an obvious way and then get the obvious kill. Don't think that's a satisfying gameplay loop, and that IO has driven it to the ground at this point. Man, it's so difficult to put into words, I guess. Like, if we think back at Hitman contracts, where we had a mission that begins with the SWAT team kicking down the door to the room you're staying in. Like, there's no way the mechanics of this game would ever allow for anything remotely similar to that. Or a mission where the whole point is to find a good sniping location and eliminate the target from a distance. You can't have that sort of mission in modern Hitman. Or a mission where you join the SWAT team to storm a terrorist ship. Like, all of these concepts are completely impossible with the mechanics that we have now, and I think it's a damn shame. They can only do this one very specific gameplay style, and I think it's done. They've really got to do something different for Hitman 3, in my opinion, because this is just not interesting anymore. What else can I say? Except, like, bring up my favorite talking point of all time, which is the rating system. Because I do feel like, even though I think it's impossible for them to adjust the gameplay enough to allow for mission concepts like the ones in contracts, I do feel like they could add a lot of depth to the gameplay just by having a solid rating system that isn't so binary and only allow for that one specific playstyle. Because, let's be real, it's fucking ridiculous how you're allowed to knock out 50 NPCs and shoot 50 others in the shoulder and set off the fire alarm 10 times and get Sound Assassin. But take one wrong step accidentally into a trespassing zone and Sound Assassin is gone. It's, man, it's such a bad system. I can't believe they've stuck with it for so long. Yeah. Oh! One more thing I do want to mention in this incoherent rant is that as I was streaming this stuff, one thing came up that I don't think I've pitched anywhere, and it is how to make sniping better in this game. And that would be to add a new type of kill in addition to something like accident kill, ballistic kill, whatever you have is the stuff you have, and that would be a long range kill. Because right now sniping is just useless. Because okay, I sniped a target. Everybody saw the kill and found the body. No sound assassin, but I guess I sniped him. That's satisfying, I guess. Not really. And realistically, at least the way I use the sniper rifle, either I shoot at some gas canister or chandelier to kill a target, or I shoot from point blank, completely ruining the point of a sniper rifle. So what I would like to see is long range kill. If you are, I don't know the distance, that would be good, but say 150 meters away from the target, and you kill them with the sniper rifle. If nobody sees the kill, then the body becomes impossible to discover, as if it had been an accident. Sounds good to me. Anybody else? That would also actually make use of the worst part of their current rating system, which is the noticed kills tracking, which seems to break more often than it works. It's completely redundant, it doesn't do shit, just breaks all the time, gives you incorrect results. But if you had a system like that, then you could actually keep sniping somewhat interesting, challenging even, but also rewarding, and allow Sound Assassin to work in that context. Without actually changing the rating system to be good. Just a tiny bit less bad. I mean, I think that sounds reasonable. But yeah, I guess that covers this month. I really don't have much to say about Heaven Island. I guess I just I feel so done with this game. If I had to compare this to the bank, I would say that the bank hands down wins. Because this... I've played this map before. 3 years ago. There's nothing to see here, unfortunately. Even though it's technically great, I'm sure. But the bank, however, actually stood out a bit. It was a very confined area, only one target, one objective that can be completed in multiple ways. Very vertical level, completely indoors. It already has a few things that make it stand out from the rest. It still has a lot of the same problems, but at least it tried something new, and I appreciate that. This feels like a very safe and uninspired mission, on the other hand. But yeah, if you're not sick of the gameplay loop of Hitman, you'll probably like it. If you want to see something new, don't bother. Yeah, on that disappointing note, thanks for watching. Later.